Okay, so in this first example, use the chain rule to find the derivative of y equals sine of 3x plus 1. So because you've got a function within a function, so a function of x within a function, within the sine function, you need to use the chain rule, or you can, one way or the other, to differentiate this, you have to use the chain rule. And so the way you do it is to go sine of, and you replace this part here with another variable, and that u is equal to 3x plus 1, and then you need to have the value of du dx, and the derivative of this with respect to x is 3, and then deriving y with respect to x dy dx, the chain rule is dy du, so deriving y with respect to u, and then multiplied by the derivative of u with respect to x. So deriving this with respect to u, the derivative of sine of a function is cos of that same function. So cos of u, and all of that is times by du dx, which is equal to 3. And so that 3, and I'll put it in brackets to make it clear that you don't multiply that 3 by this here. You can't multiply, it's not correct to multiply anything on the outside by that angle because you're taking cos of that angle. So I'll put it in the big bracket so that I'm timesing the whole thing by 3, so that becomes 3 cos of u, and then you just put the u back, what u is equal to, so 3x plus 1 back in here, and you end up with 3 cos of 3x plus 1, and that's the derivative of this function here. Now there is a quick way of doing this, and I encourage you to be able to do it this way. Now the quick way of finding the derivative, and it's still using the chain rule, it's just not using it by using the formula and substitution. So the derivative of this whole thing here is 3, and then you times that by the derivative of a sine function, which is cos of whatever the sine function is of. So the derivative of sine of something is cos of that something. So that becomes cos of 3x plus 1. And then just tidying that up, end up with the same answer that I got over on the left there. So much quicker doing it this way. You just got to remember to take the derivative of this part here, which is really just the du dx part in the formula. So I recommend you learn how to do it the quick way. Example 2, again use the chain rule to find the derivative of y equals x squared minus 4x in brackets to the 2/3. So again, first step, substitute u for this thing, so that becomes u to the 2/3, where u is equal to x squared minus 4x, and I'll write the chain rule first this time, so dy dx equals dy du times du dx, where u is equal to this function, so you need to find du dx again, so du dx is equal to, so deriving this you get 2x, deriving 4x is 4, so 2x minus 4 is du dx, and then dy du, derivative of this, so bring down that power and then keep that same base and then minus 1 from that power, and then multiplied by du dx, which is 2x minus 4, like that. And then from here, this is really itself over 1, so 2 times that is going to go on the top, so 2 bracket 2x minus 4 and on 3, and times by u to the 2/3 minus 1 is 2/3 minus 3/3, which is minus 1/3. And then in the next step, what I'm going to do, I'm also going to take out a common factor of 2 from here. So I've got 2 times 2 bracket, and then that would become x minus 2, like that, and that's over 3, and times by, and now this is 1 over, because it's a negative power, it's 1 over u to the 1/3, and then on the top I've got 4 bracket x minus 2, and on the bottom 3 times u to the 1/3, and now I'm going to put the u back, which is x squared minus 4x to the 1/3, and that is the answer. It's one form of the answer, and you could also write it in this form, so 4 bracket x minus 2 on 3, and then just write this as the cube root of x squared minus 4x, and putting a little 3 there to show it's a cube root. This is a sufficient answer at this step here, and it's easier to work with things to powers rather than the cube root most of the time. So and it's good to be able to go from this step to that step. And again, the quick way of doing this to the 2/3, and so dy dx is equal to, so bring down the power, 2/3, and then x squared minus 4x to the 2/3 minus 1, and then you're going to times by the derivative of what's in here, which is 2x minus 4. So if you do it this way, you've just got to remember to multiply by the derivative of whatever this part here is. And at this point, I am pretty much at this step here, except instead of having the u, I've got x squared minus 4 here, so everything else is the same. So it's just a lot quicker doing it this way. And then ultimately all of this will get to this step here. So that's two ways of using the chain rule, using the formula in a formal way. And you really need to be able to use the formula just in case you get a question where it's something's in the form of using the chain rule. And I recommend again that you learn this quicker way of doing it. It'll save you a lot of time.